Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today for you guys I have yet another video on the Superheavy Samurai engine. Now last time we went over what you can do with some sprite combos, including the Cherry Exterio. You can maybe do Toad stuff, some Melfi stuff. You have a lot of options. However, I did say that was not the only thing the Superheavy Samurai deck could do. You play an even heavier Superheavy Samurai engine and do significantly more. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you a way you can rip 4 cards out of your opponent's hand and end on 2 negates and follow up with a single card and then one of many other possible extenders or even just machine monsters. And it should be super easy to do, so I will show you guys in a second. Now, before I continue, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on anything else you'd like to see in the future, and if you enjoy this type of content. Also, go check out tsx1.com and use the code POTATO10 for 10% off on all your sleeves. I believe they just had a restock on the Supreme Pro Whites, which are the sleeves that I use at events, so I definitely recommend using them. They are great quality. Anyways, let me get into the combo. Okay, so again, we're starting off with Wakashi. There are other ways you can do this combo a little more elaborately, but I'll show you guys kind of the basic thing we're trying to do, and you can figure out the other ways to get to it with different combinations of cards. So you need the Wakashi, and then you need one of many cards, and they can be searchable. So pretty much you're going to have one of like 6 different pieces, and then you search the one you just don't have. In this case, I added Spy just because you want to summon a self, and you'll see why that matters in about a minute or two. So similarity to before, we're just going to start off with the Wakashi. Nice to scale, add Soul Piercer. So this is going to be how pretty much any combo starts, because this is how you start going wide really fast, and your resources kind of spiral from here. Again, Link monster should be normal, and then you can add another piece from deck to hand. So we have the bike. Scarecrow can add back special back to the piercer, so another resource for us to use. Again, we want to use the bike early here. That way we can get a Baron up. We're not afraid of hand traps. And I believe now this is 1, 2, 3, 4 summons. And then the Excel Synchron would be number 5. Sorry, the Stardust Excel Dragon. So if we get nipped at that point, you'd have the scale set up and you'd have 2 searches to keep playing with, and you should be able to do quite a bit still, so not overly concerning. But yes, that's what we will be doing exactly here, and we can kind of do a bunch. So we're going to add the tuner here. You do need to pendulum summon a tuner out, so there's a couple ways to do this. One of the Superheavy Samurai soul monsters does act as a guy that turns something into a tuner, so you could use that, but adding Wakashi is just easier, so do that. You'll need this for later when you pendulum summon. To make the Baron, so now we feel safe for one hand trap. They're going to need multiple to have any chance of stopping us. And a Soul Piercer that is summoned from the deck. Now this one is one we weren't playing before as well. This is Scales. It's pretty strong. If your opponent controls 2 or more monsters and you control none, you can special this from your hand. And then if it's no more special summoned, you can target level 4 lower Superheavy Samurai in your grave and summon it in defense mode. So before, we didn't need it for our combos, and it wasn't a good starter card, so we didn't include it in our deck. However, it is just nice value because this off the Soul Peacemaker revives the Soul Piercer, and then we can make a Link 2 and get a search, and that's a lot of advantage for very little, and it's great in a follow-up in a more pure Superheavy Samurai deck. So in a deck more like this, where we have a lot more Superheavy Samurai cards, it functions excellently and is an auto include for sure. However, also some smaller engines, you don't play this card likely. But yeah, so we get back the Soul Piercer and we can now link. And now I'm making here Ancient Gear Ballista. So Ballista can trigger, and so can Piercer, adding 2 more cards from deck to hand. So this will add the Ancient Gear monster. And then we can add Skull Wagon off of Soul Piercer. Samurai Wagon is another one we didn't play before. It's an okay starter card and pretty good at extending just because it gives you another value card. It's almost like a Stratos. When it's summoned, you can change its battle position, which is fine. But while it's in defense, you can change it to attack mode and then add a Superheavy Samurai Soul from deck to hand. So again, the Superheavy Samurai Soul monsters is not everything. It doesn't include stuff like Wakashi. It doesn't include the Big Benkei, but it adds the Soul Piercer, the Soul Peacemaker, and it gives you enough utility to feel pretty comfortable. But anyways, yes, so let's keep pressing forward. At this point here, we get the box as well off this. Now, it's important to note here that when the box is added, it adds another Earth Machine 500 attack or defense. So if you've played Earth Machine, you know there's a bunch of cards you can add. And here we're going to add Definitive Check Tunneler. The reason we're adding Tunneler here is we need a level 5 to summon off of the pendulums. And then also, this is nice because it's pretty much part of average. So now when we put it in the grave, we can draw 2 cards with it, which will be nice. So here at this point, we need 1 more body on the field before we pendulum summon to turn this plus something else into Clifford Genius. That'll give us access to Regulus, which will be more hand trap disruption, more negates, and just a good card to have. So that's what we're using this buy for here. You could forego the Regulus and just leave out that part of the combo, although it is a bit worse. Although you could do it just through Akashi if you leave that out. So yeah, we get the Genius here, and now we can pendulum summon. So Genius here says, its main important thing here is when 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time to the zones this card points to, you can add a level 5 or higher machine from deck to your hand. So we're going to be pendulum summoning 4 here, so that's going to be a non-problem. And it's just summoning all the machines we've acquired during the combo this far. So now we get to search for Regulus. Meaning at the next juncture, we can summon that out. And we can equip a floater to it, which will be nice. And now we can use the Samurai Wagon to put it to attack mode and get 1 other card. So we want to get another extender. It has to be level 4 extender, so we'll get the Soul Guy booster. This one does turn stuff into a tuner, what I was talking about, but I'd rather use it as level 4 extender here because we need 1 level 4 body more on the field to kind of complete the combo. But now we need to make some space. So we're going to use the tuner we talked about, plus the level 5 needed for the synchro plays. And if you haven't seen this coming yet, it's going to be summoning X-Saber Golems. So an old card from Ancient Prophecy, tuner, 1 or more non-tuner Earths. And then you contribute X-Saber Monster to discard a random card to your opponent's hand. So this deck does not play any other X-Saber cards, so it can only tribute itself. However, super easy to do. We distribute itself off, they rip 1 card. So down 1 card now. You say, how do we get to the rest now? How do we clear the rest of the cards out of their hand? Well, it's relatively easy. Regulus can equip the Soul Piercer now, so we have some extra layered protection. And now what we can do with Baron is pop the Soul Piercer to add another card, because the Soul Piercer does nothing while equipped, but we'll take the free float. So this here is not going to matter, but we will be discarding it at some point later. So now we want to equip this to the Samurai Wagon, because it has to go to every Samurai, and equip it to summon itself out. And 3 level 4s on the field will make Alumbration. So with 3 level 4s attached, lets you add any level 4 from next to your hand. And if you can kind of see where this is going now, this can add a Avernus Self card. So if you've seen the OCG deck lists at all, you know that this is a combo that some people are doing. You can have this. And the Avernus Elves, you can discard themselves plus another monster or Avernus Elf card. Something back in Earth on your grave. It locks you into Earth effects the rest of the turn, which means from this point on, after we use it, the Baron is not going to be useful. It will be used only on their turn as a negate, which is fine. But it's important to note that's why we went Regulus, because now if they were holding the nib until this point, we can have a way to stop it still. This obviously meant they had to risk us discarding the nib off of the first Golems, but sometimes it's a risk your opponent may have had to take. Anyways, we get to revive 1, and then also they all do something else in addition to reviving 1. So this one, Flourishing Hills, you add any other Avernus Elf card from deck to hand. So here we are going to use it and then discard something, bring back the Golems, and bring out Misting Seedlings. So again, this one will revive an Earth from the grave, and they'll also add an Earth Fairy from deck to hand. So obviously we're going to revive the Golems here, and not once per turn, old card, we rip another card. So they're down 2 cards now, and now we can use the Duckling again, or the Seedlings. I keep calling it Duckling. And then it's Earth Fairy, and we can add the Awakening Force. This one sends a Earth from deck to grave, which isn't going to be integral in our combo, but it can be a nice upside if we play appropriate cards, and we get to rip a 3rd card. Now we also have the Tunneler. We still have to draw 2 more cards. We don't want to discard our hand traps. You can use it earlier, but you risk drawing into the Avernus Elves, and then you lose the advantage that you would have gotten by searching off those. So in this case, I waited. And you can also put back extra deck monsters, so you're drawing more likely hand traps. It could actually be about half hand traps at this point. And yeah, obviously we drew 2 hand traps here, which is fantastic. And we ripped the 4th card here. And I also put Medora in the grave in case I was discarding whatever graveyard effects they may have needed. So yeah, we end in Medora here. We end on 2 negates. We end on Rip 4. And we still have the 2 hand traps. And our follow-up still involves Pendulum Summoning, which is pretty good. So yeah, I mean, this is very strong. And there are definitely ways to build upon this if you have other cards in your hand. You could definitely go like Omega as well somewhere in this combo if you have more extenders to rip a 5th card out of their hand, pretty much meaning they're starting with just their top deck. And then even then, there's probably ways to extend that even further. You could argue there's a way to get to Bestial Dispater, one of the new cards in what is it, Cybernetic Access or Cyberstorm Access, which can bring back the Omega, and then the Omega could rip one more card. I think this combo is pretty strong. It requires less breaks than some of the other combos that I may show you later on this channel, but it does require a pretty heavy, super heavy Samurai engine nonetheless. So it's not really something you can slash into another deck. This dedicates your deck to this type of combo. What I also don't love about it is pretty weak to Droll and Lockbird and Arise Heart, both of which are floodgates that we can expect to see pretty likely in the next format, unless they have a forbidden list before YCS Philly now, and I'm assuming that's what I'm targeting with these videos. So it's unclear if this will be a top tier choice, but it is absolutely worth exploring because the absolute power behind these cards is undeniable, and it's something that you should be paying attention to, because you never know if this may be the deck you play against. You want to be prepared for it, or maybe this just actually is the deck to play at the next event. Anyways, I hope you guys found this informative and enjoyable. I will continue making out a bunch of videos for you guys on the upcoming meta. Cyberstorm Access does provide a lot of change for us, so hopefully there will be a good amount of stuff for me to introduce you guys to. Anyways, that's it for now. Peace.